Welcome everyone to week number 10 of the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld. This is the top split on the iRacing service, and with this race we have 3 weeks remaining as we come into the virtual Virginia International Raceway, bringing you the grand course for this race weekend. Let's go ahead and take a look at the schedule coming into tonight's event. Or so far this entire season, we have had Lime Rock Park, Watkins Glen, travel over to Canada for Canadian Tire, and then over to Australia for the Bend, back to the US for America, then back over to Europe for Brands Hatch, then the Nürburgring Nordschleife, the Circuit Zolder for week number 8, and then back to the US for 3 more races. Road Atlanta was last week, won by Nicholas Shepard. Mid-Ohio is next week, and then we end the season back in Australia in Oran Park. And right now we have 3 minutes left coming into this race, but look at the amount of wins that Nicholas Shepard has mounted throughout this season so far. He has been absolute force. Not only one of 5 drivers to win this season, but the only driver to have multiple wins in a row, let alone 2. He's got 4. Could he go 5 in a row and have 6 wins on the season? We'll have to find that out in just a few moments' time. We're going to have the grid coming up in about 2 minutes, if not less, as we take a look at the sites of the virtual Virginia International Raceway. And what a track this is. The grand course layout too, believe it or not, and the one of the longest laps of the season, but not the longest lap of the season. That's also rivaled by the Bend, not including the Nürburgring, of course. Now, taking a look now, all the times are just starting to come in. This is going to be one heck of a race because one lap is only seeing the average to the field about maybe about 2 minutes 51 seconds just about, and all the times are flooding in right now, so we'll go ahead and see how things shape out here in just about a minute and a half. There are some drivers that have not qualified just yet. Some of them are still setting their time. Some of them have had their lap times invalidated, actually, by the looks of this. We have 22 cars, though, here for this week, so let's go ahead and get in the starting grid for what we have so far. We're going to wait, I think, a little bit. In fact, we should be good to go. See where exactly all these drivers will line up. Starting on the front row, no stranger to the podium positions, are Nicholas Shepard and Joe Holmes, starting first and second. Third place, Michael Folds, no stranger to the podium. Starting fourth place is Charles Wolfe. We've seen him quite a few times around the top 5, and of course, right when I'm expecting that somebody is going to not finish up their lap, here comes Michael Coates to snipe away the 5th place position from Austin Hervias. At this point, I think I'm going to wait just a little bit to see. I believe we should be good in terms of qualifying, so we'll go ahead and keep going through the starting grid. Austin Hervias now starts 6th place instead of 5th. Next row holds John Miller III and Tom Sanders. As we get that up on the screen for you, John Miller and Tom Sanders starting 7th and 8th. As Jesse Gonzalez starts off in 9th, 10th place is Matthew Bartlett. 11th is Todd Sato. 12th is Kevin Caruccia, if not Kevin Cruchet. He starts off in the 12th place position. Gregorio Moreno Jr. starts 13th. 14th place is Tony Wallace. Matt Mullins 15th. Daniel DeLiberti starts 16th. 17th place is Wesley DeCruz. And Zachary, well, let me try that again. Zachary Grau starts off in 18th. My brain got the Z swapped with the G there for his last name, but that is Zachary Grau starting in the 18th place spot. And then the last drivers to not set a time, James Newell, Sebastian Carbert, And Jean-Francois Saint-Pierre, along with Marcelo Nunez, start off in 19th through 22nd. And now, go ahead and take a look at the starting grid here. There's a shot of it right there. Here's Nicholas Shepard starting on the pole position. The drivers will be lining up. It is a very humid, well, to put it lightly, very humid. Because right now the humidity is, if I'm reading this correctly, 95%. It is foggy. There is no chance of rain, though. The only chance of rain that we had was about 15% chance, and that has not shown. There's no chance of rain for this event. Looking through one more time, and that is going to be the case. 0% chance of rain, but it will get hotter here by a couple degrees by the end of the race. In fact, just by 1 degree by the look of it. Charles Wolf, Sebastian, and Nunez all have yet to grid. Just a couple more drivers to grid here. Let's take a look at the entire field here in one shot. There's Charles Wolf. Everybody except for one is gridded. The drivers are waiting. Now everybody's gridded. Eyes up top, to the top of the screen for you, and to the flag stand for the drivers. As the revs rise, we go racing here at the virtual Virginia International Raceway, the grand course layout. This is going to be a long 3-minute starting lap as they make their way down into turn number 1. Drivers fan out wide. Does everybody make it through? Looks to be so far, yes. Can barely see anything because of the humidity, but everyone has made it through so far. Pass to the lead, attempt by Joe Holmes. Everyone is making it through so far. Contact is made, though. That's from up ahead. I think that's Toxato. It is. The 12 is around as multiple drivers get involved here. We'll take a look at that when we are able, but right now the focus is on the lead. As these drivers will make their way through. Uphill, through the S's, over the curbs they go. In fact, this might be the only chance we'll have to take a look at this replay, so go ahead and take a look. Just caught the tail end of that, so let's go ahead one more time and see what led up to this incident. Toxato is on your right-hand side behind that red glossy car, the number 9, and that is a pass attempt made by the number 8. That is Kevin Cruchet. And contact is made. See, the 9 was involved. That's the 19, actually. The 18 was also involved. That's Wesley De Cruz and Sebastian Carshire. Sebastian Carburet, I believe is how it's pronounced. Regardless, we come back to live pictures, and already 28 minutes remain as Joe Holmes leads the field, and this is the portion of the grand course that you are probably seeing for the first time. Here comes Nicholas Shepard, tried to look to the inside, wasn't able to make a move as Holmes was staying protective nearly into the back bumper, and I think he did just make contact, is Nicholas Shepard. And these drivers are just about halfway through this lap here. Soon they're about to make their way back up onto the long back straightaway that they have here. But we're coming up to the section where the field usually could cut through for a shorter layout here. You might see it just off in the background here. In fact, that was the section. That was so subtle, but we are back to the final main corners here of the regular portion of the circuit. As Holmes leads, we'll take a look off in the background. Matt Mullins getting passed by James Newell here. Everyone single file as they will all make their way through down the main stretch. And just like that, we have at the start finish line 3 minutes gone. An estimated 11 laps. So we got about maybe, I think, 10 laps to go here. Again, this is a long lap. One of the many long laps here, testing the endurance effectively in a roundabout way of these drivers. And don't adjust your pictures. It is as foggy as it seems. I think with these cars running, and as it gets hotter throughout the race, that fog will start to lift. I think we saw it just a little bit there. They're at turn 4. We can kind of see it here as well. The fog is just starting to lift. And though we can see it from a distance here as we take a look at the leaders making their way through. Folds stays in line. The top 3, in fact, 3rd through 10th is as you were as they started. Only swap in the top 10 is up here for 1st and 2nd. Let's see what Shepard has in mind here. You can see the brake lights at least cutting through the haze that we have. Not able to necessarily make a pass attempt into the double right-hander, but could Shepard try to make a pass into the hairpin? Could he try and capitalize is the question. It looks like he's going to try and make a move onto the right-hand side, decides to stay in line here. Down hard on the brakes they go. Into this hairpin turn off the back straightaway. We see Tom Sanders trying to potentially set up a pass on John Miller. And nothing doing as of yet. Uphill and swinging all the way downhill. You can see the drop just visually from the external angle as Joe Holmes slid through that left-hander. Elevation of that playing a part. I see off in the background actually a few drivers maybe going side by side. That was Daniel DiLiberti. I think he was going to try and make a pass on Tony Wallace, but not able to capitalize there just yet. Folds sticking with us as well. You can see this is fascinating here. Watching these drivers just snake their way through. Look at the body language of the car as well, especially from the external angle. It is absolutely fascinating to see. The top 2 are starting to break away just a little bit, launching their left side tires over the curb. And on the front straight once again. And I'll do it all over again for another 24 some odd minutes. Estimated 9 laps to go. Lap 3 of 11 at the start finish line. Here comes Nicholas Shepard around the outside. But that does not mean that the pass for the lead is done quite yet. We still have a long ways to go, 24 minutes, although Shepard leads, setting himself up for a potential 5 in a row. But can he capitalize on it? That is the main question. The car numbers, if you're new to watching this, first of all, welcome. Second of all, the car numbers, in this case, this isn't a league, this is the official top split of the iRacing Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld. Heusinkveld joined in just this season. Great to see them stepping in for a little bit of a title sponsorship. But if you are new, the car numbers in this case are effectively representing the rating that these drivers have. The ELO, or as one would refer to it as, but in terms of iRacing, it is referred to as iRating. So the higher you finish, the higher iRating you have. In this case, the higher car number you have, well, the lower car number you have, technically speaking, like Michael Folds being the number 1, then the highest rated that you are. So it goes from 1 all the way down to, in this case, 22. The highest driver, the driver with the highest I rating in the field, got there eventually, is Michael Folds, and the 1, the 2 is Joe Holmes, and the 3rd highest is Nicholas Shepard. Cars number 2 and 3 are about to fight for the lead here. Down into the hairpin they go. Shepard falls in right behind. I thought he was going to have Michael Folds give a go at that, but not able to do so. Daniel DiLiberti gets passed by James Newell, although DiLiberti does try to put up a little bit of a fight. Not able to, though. Here comes Zachary Grau in that number 22 machine, tracking on for at least a top half of the field finish. We'll see how things fare for him as DiLiberti gets a little bit wide. Passing back as well. DiLiberti with a little bit of front end damage. Tony Wallace, James Newell swapping positions. That's Newell going ahead of Tony Wallace here in the number 15 machine. And even just from this angle, you can see just how much the cars are able to be thrown around. Again, absolutely fascinating. Look at Kevin, who's about to go off the track trying to pass Daniel DiLiberti. Oh, wait a minute. Nicholas Shepard has dropped back to 6th place. No idea what happened to him. We take our eyes off him for just a few moments, and he has fallen from 2nd to 6th. What happened to Nicholas Shepard? We saw the pass made for the lead. Shepard is still sitting in 2nd. Was it? Did he catch a curb wrong here on the uphill, on the S's? Watch the body language of the car here. It's the curve just a little bit. Should be right here is where I'm expecting some sort of issue. No, did he get slowed down perhaps? That's the only thing I can see, but I'm not sure where Shepard could have gotten that slowdown. Let's see if we can find where he got that. It was definitely after the pass. So here's the pass for the lead. Holmes going up to 1st place. I may have to see. Let's try getting an onboard here, but for Michael Folds. Take a look at the placement of the number 3 here. Let's see. It may have been that. They do have 40 seconds to start a slowdown penalty, so it could have been there. I'll take a look and right on board with Folds to see what he saw here, and then we'll go back to your live pictures. They've been on the uphill. No, I think it was just that first moment there on the entry. I think the car is just a little bit too far. There is fine. That's within track limits. And then right about here is when Shepard dives off to the side, slows down. I'll take a look here at live pictures as Michael Folds is going to be in line for potentially getting a 2nd win of the season. Same with Joe Holmes. As we got some passing in the back, Zachary Grau has lost a couple positions. Same with Daniel Diliberti, who's off the track in the background. What's happened to the number 16? He was doing so well in the first half of the season, I feel like, but after a while it just starts to catch bad luck. A lot of speed, carries it through. Fantastic job on the inside, or the outside actually, of that number 22. Do they make contact? Oh no, they do. We did see the 12 slowing ever so slightly. Let's ride on board with Zachary, see what he saw. Well, obviously not intentional. I would hope not. But it's kind of hard to ignore a car that's right there on the outside, especially with that kind of delivery that Diliberti has. It's very noticeable, but potentially just tracked out a little bit too wide for Grau. Unfortunately spawned Daniel Diliberti. And just like that, blinking and missing, we got 18.5 minutes remaining once we cross the start-finish line. And Michael Folds leads. Joe Holmes in 2nd, could be leading here. It could be a different story as we enter turn number 1. From up top, Holmes does clear Folds. These two have been in These two have tussled a little bit earlier on this season. I believe at Road Atlanta. Nope, Road America, wrong track. It was actually, both of them were wrong tracks. It was actually a Canadian Tire. I'll get the tracks right one day. It's pretty much a mandatory thing to get Road America and Road Atlanta messed up unintentionally at least once in your day if you're going to refer to either track. But it was at Canadian Tire at Mosport where both of these two had tussled a little bit before. Much to the annoyance of Michael Folds and no doubt Joel Holmes as well. Look at Folds showing the nose there as we go uphill. Let's not count out Michael Coates, who's lurking here in 4th place. He's been sitting up here in the top 5. 4th, 5th, and 6th are now 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Nicholas Shepard, after falling back, has not been able to recover. He's just gone off the track as well there. I don't know if that would be a slowdown penalty. Let's see if we can bring up the speed here. Keep an eye on the speed there at the bottom of the screen for you. If it is a slowdown penalty, he's chosen to wait just a little bit, and this straightaway would have been the perfect time to serve that. So I think it is just an off-track penalty, as we do have a pass to the lead going into the hairpin. Folds back up in 1st. Oh man, look at this. Charles Wolfe and Austin Hervise tracking wide as they exit the hairpin. Here comes Michael Coates trying to make a pass. He's on the brakes first, though, to stay behind Wolf in the 13. Wolf goes wide to the inside. Taking advantage is Michael Coates. He's also ran into a little bit of bad luck, coincidentally, also at Canadian Tire. So good to see that Michael Coates has started to drag himself back up the order, especially in this race, and about to drag himself further up the order is Nicholas Shepard, who is sitting right on top of the back bumper of Charles Wolf. I think he was going to try and make a move there around the outside, but there's not enough space. There's an opening there, but Shepard stays in line. Wolf will currently retain that 5th place position. And that car that you see up ahead, that is not Wesley DeCruz, that is Tox Sato. Still running, I have to commend him for that, even with a missing front bumper. Around the outside goes Joe Holmes. Could he get the pass complete? No. First on the brakes is Holmes, but harder on the brakes is Folds. He will retain the lead. In the background, Shepard has gone up to 5th, and off the track goes Austin Hervise. So Austin Hervise has tracked out wide in turn number 1, falls back to 6th place. So effectively a double overtake for Nicholas Shepard, who slides a little bit, I think, actually. And look at this line here for 7th place, being led by John Miller. 7th through 10th, as you were from when they started. And they're all just sitting here in their little group here. Tom Sanders, Jesse Gonzalez, Matthew Bartlett. And just catching up to this battle, potentially, is Gregorio Moreno Jr., started 13th. James Newell, shout out to him. He started 19th place, and he sits in 12th. That slow car was Tox Sato laying the lead cars through. Goes a little bit off the track, but he does hang on to it. Tries to get out of the way, I think, in time of Nicholas Shepard. A little bit of an awkward spot for Sato, but he is trying his best to stay out of the way. Up front, could it be a change for the lead? Folds goes defensive. Holmes goes onto the back bumper, a little bit of a push. Folds tracks out wide to the racing line, and first on the brakes is Holmes to stay off the back bumper. Both of these drivers do have a realistic chance to get a second win on the season. If we go and bring up the schedule that we've had so far, you see that Folds won. Oh, hold on a second. Just hard on the brakes, but Folds won the first race of the season. The Holmes won the fourth race of the season, sorry. And both of these two have not won a race since. Only 5 winners on the season. The only massive repeat winner, and the only repeat winner in general, is Shepard. Could we have a second repeat winner this season? Could we have somebody new in the form of Michael Coates, depending on how this battle for the lead goes? I mean, after all, John Miller got his first win. His only win so far this season. Get in contact with Michael Folds and I believe Ishmael Oblal over at, I'm pausing so I can remember it correctly, Road America. John Miller III was third, appropriately enough at the time, and he found himself with a win once he came across the start-finish line. So it's not out of the question for first and second to have a bit of incidental contact between themselves, leading to a win for third place. I'll tell you what, it would be weird if it happened twice, that's for sure, but we'll see how things fare in these next 12 and a half minutes as the time continues to count down, just about matching the lap time of the front two runners is Michael Coates, although he is, in fact, Coates is more in line with the lap time of Nicholas Shepard. So Nicholas Shepard's last lap was a 251.890. Michael Coates has a 251.881. And both of them are about 1/10 of a second slower than the front two runners who ran a, Folds ran a 251.805. Joe Holmes After all that, 1/1000th of a second faster. So see how things fare between these two. Coates in the land of his own, same with Shepard. Wolf and Austin Hervias were battling for 5th place there, just as they exited about turn number 3. And Wolf has found himself back up into the top 5. Miller still finds himself leading this group for the 7th place battle, all the way in the background. And if we take a look right up here, it's going to be Joe Holmes trying to make a pass around the outside. Can't get there, though. Hard on the brakes they go again. Holmes gets swung around the outside a little bit. But he does hang on to it. I can see even from this camera angle that Coates had his left side tires on the grass just a little bit throughout the exit of the hairpin. Saw the grass and dust and dirt getting kicked up by the tires. But keep an eye on that gap. 1.7 seconds here. And all it's doing is coming down, and these two do continue to battle. Shepard trying to charge up the field, trying to set the time charts alight to get himself a 5th win in a row, 6th win on the season, and secure himself effectively the top split championship. Well, I say top split championship, just the championship for this season. Although at the same time, technically, top split championship as well, depending on which points format you want to use. But Shepard has been there and the most consistent, quite literally, in terms of wins, let alone podiums. And just like that, we have under 10 minutes remaining once we cross the start-finish line here. Holmes trying to push Foles. I don't know if he was trying to push him out of the line, but he is trying to stay on top of the back bumper. Foles surprisingly lets the inside go. I think he knows that Holmes isn't really going to try and make a move there at the last second. A lot of trust, considering especially considering the incidents that have happened between them. But that was about 6 weeks ago at this point. Both of them just barely staying within track limits. You see the tires of Michael Coates just barely getting into the gravel, but not enough to kick up any dust. Shepard has gotten to the back bumper of Michael Coates. Coates trying to secure himself a top 5 finish for this week. And even if Shepard does pass him, he will do so, but man, would it benefit Coates to get a podium spot here. Now we look to the back here of Charles Wolf and Austin Hervias, who are battling for the 5th place spot, which could potentially turn into that battle for 7th. That keeps looming in the background there. Could always be a battle for 5th depending on how things go, as Shepard has gotten by Michael Coates. Last time by the line, a whole second faster, basically, was Nicholas Shepard. And 0.8 of a second faster by extension was Michael Coates, and that's faster than both of these top 2 runners. And yes, that was the previous lap, not their fastest lap, which goes to, looks to be Michael Foltz right now, 250.757. Next fastest lap is Nicholas Shepard, actually correction, Michael Coates, 250.833. So in terms of fastest lap times, Coates is there, and he is sticking with Nicholas Shepard, just like Kevin Cruchet is going to try and stick his car on the racetrack as Tony Wallace tries to look around the outside for 13th. Both of these two having a bit of a heated battle between themselves here as they go through the grand course layout. Now back up front, that gap has gotten larger. It's 1.7 seconds last time. It is now 2 seconds. It's an average of about 0.3 of a second faster for these lead cars. So we'll see if that does change. Right now we're tracking into the territory of about 3 laps to go. Especially with 3 minutes per lap. Yeah, we will get about 3 laps to go here. 7 minutes remain as they will cross the start-finish line this time by Joe Holmes pushing Michael Foltz down the front straightaway. I think Foltz knows, oh man, I think a little bit of, judging by the body language of the car, hard on the brakes, no doubt. But I think judging by the body language of the car for Folds is that he knows that Holmes isn't really going to try and make a move now because there's just no point to do so. On the last lap, sure, but once we're in this kind of stage of the race, there's not really a point to do so. It's James Newell and Moreno Jr. swap positions, Newell around the outside. Remember what I said earlier as well about that 5th place battle, or that 7th place battle turning into a 5th place battle? Well, behold, the 7th place battle has turned into just about a 5th place battle. John Miller is right there, just barely in the slipstream of these cars in front. This could turn into one heck of a battle for the 5th place position. Holmes just staying on the back bumper of Folds, staying in line. And throughout all of this, Nicholas Shepard is catching up. Either way, with how the current top 3 are, we will be getting a repeat winner of some sort. The only question is, who will that repeat winner be if they make it cleanly? The top 2 are not susceptible to not being involved in an incident. And here comes Joe Holmes into the hairpin. Slides wide just a little bit, blipping the brakes ever so slightly is Michael Folds. No doubt hoping to get a switchback, but no dice there just yet. Tom Sanders has gotten by John Miller. First position change between the top 7 through 8 positions for a while. There's James Newell, who's joined in on this battle as well. So now that 7th through 10th has become 5th through 12th by this point. So a whole host of cars vying effectively for that last spot in the top 5, currently occupied by the 13 of Charles Wolfe. The 6 of Austin Hervise is sitting directly behind him. Joe Holmes has created a gap between himself and Michael Folds, this time by. It will be 2 laps to go. And even still, even if Holmes does lead here, and have to lead out of the final corner, as we saw from that pass attempt, I wouldn't be surprised if Folds had backed off a little bit to bring in Nicholas Shepard to this battle. But we have 2 laps to go with 4 minutes left. And the battle for 5th place is ongoing. Austin Hervise around the outside on the main straightaway. Down into turn 1 we go. The fog still has not cleared up like I expected it to be, but they are side by side. If you can see through the fog, while Hervise goes too wide, and that opens the door for Tom Sanders to join in on this battle. But here comes Hervise with the preferred line. And just like that, launches his car on the curb, parks it directly in front of Charles Wolfe, takes a defensive line, and with an emphatic pass, that is Hervise up to 5th. But he still has 2 laps to go. He still has, so many corners to go. I think about 15 more corners left, if not more than that. I think this layout actually has like 30-something corners. I have to double-check that here, actually. With the Grand Course layout, 23 corners. And only just now, they're making their way to that double right-hander, which is up here where these leaders are, and this is turn 11, where Shepard has gone back up to 2nd. And just like that, first, second, and third highest drivers are all back in the top 3 once again. Well, they have been ever since Shepard had gotten by Michael Coates, but Coates, do not count him out. He could still be in line for a podium finish if anything does happen between the top 3, but we still have a long ways to go. No pass attempt from Shepard yet. Let's take a look back at the top 5, as Tom Sanders isn't going to be waiting around. He'll try and dive to the right-hand side, rather, decides against it though, not able to make a move. Gonzalez tries to go around the outside of John Miller, but not able to do anything there on corner entry of the hairpin. Keep an eye on Charles Wolfe. Shows the nose, swings wide just a little bit. That was a recipe for potentially going off the track there. But still nothing as of yet. Well, this is going to be a heck of a battle to keep up with. Wait a minute, did Joe Holmes go off the track? Did he cut the course? Did Holmes cut the course? the same serving penalty that Nicholas Shepard had to do. Did Holmes cut the course? Surely he did with that kind of a slowdown. Riding on board, Nicholas Shepard. Take a look at the body language of the car. Did Holmes cut a corner? And if he did, it may have been just a little bit further back behind where we had started this replay. It wouldn't have been there, not there. That may have been it. That small flick may have been that course cut. Yeah, he slows immediately. Surely it was that. Well, just like that, we have 1 lap to go. We're back in turn 1. Live pictures. The top 3 all within about 0.5 of a second of each other. All within drafting distance as we have the final lap this time by. Look at the battle for effectively the entire bottom half of the top 10. Sanders goes up to the inside and around. Charles Wolfe, Joe Holmes has gotten past contact with not Nicholas Shepard, but Michael Folds. These two have made contact again, and here comes Michael Coates. Remember what I said last lap, is that just because the top 3 could be so far out, don't count out the next driver in line. We saw it happen at Road America. Could we see it again? Well, Shepard, if he does not make a mistake, is in line for a 5th win in a row, 6th on the season, but he still has to get through the rest of the lap. Michael Coates now is in line for a podium spot, especially with the damage to both drivers of Joe Holmes and Michael Folds. You can see the front bumpers hanging off the cars. Coates is absolutely frothing at the mouth. He slides out of turn number 12. He knows that podium is on the line. He sees it. He is there. He's within the slipstream. He's not going to follow, though. He's just going to stay in his own line. He knows these two will be battling. Folds goes up to the outside, hard on the brakes with Holmes. They do just barely make contact, I think, but so far they stay in line. Look at Michael Folds. He'll try and go for it. He is there. He has those tires alongside Joe Holmes. Side by side they go. They make contact. Holmes slides. Does he save it? No, he slides in front of Folds. Coates is right there, but he can't make a move. You can't pass here. He can't make the move. The racing line was blocked for Coates. He couldn't make a move. Holmes and Folds still 2nd and 3rd. Coates is absolutely, no doubt, seething, trying to get at least that 3rd place spot. No pass for 5th place as of yet. And could that be it? Could that be all said and done for the bottom half of the top 3? Certainly, it is all said and done for Nicholas Shepard. These drivers will make their way through the final corners. And my oh my, for a 5th time in a row, and for a 6th win on the season, Nicholas Shepard rounds the final corner, and he'll cross the start-finish line to win once again in the Advanced Mazda MX-5 Cup Series presented by Heusinkveld. It's a crash at the start-finish line. Holmes 2nd, Folds 3rd, 4th is Michael Coates. For 5th place, it is Austin Hervise. But was that an advantageous defense from Joe Holmes that forced Folds off the track? I was saying earlier, too, that looks like they may have gotten things settled, but things got heated again between those two, and we saw the results of that, and we see how it panned out for the number 3 of Nicholas Shepard. 5 in a row. Wow. Well, time to take a little bit of a breath now at this point. Let's go back and take a look at the final lap in its entirety. Bear with us here. We're going to have to go back a lot. So bear with us here for a moment as we get everything sorted here for your replay. So this was going into turn number 1 is where these two made contact. So what happened with Michael Folds? He was sitting here. Standard kind of front bumper damage. He was sitting on the back bumper of Nicholas Shepard. Just gets the tires in the grass. He doesn't slide as a result of it. Holmes is there. And was it right here? Yep. Well, to be fair, it's a little bit of hip and shoulder, but I would say, I would debate, oh man, I would debate that first move by Holmes is fair. That second move by Folds, though, advantageous at best. I could see what he was going for there. I don't blame him. I would probably go for it too. But that still wasn't the end of it, because that brought in Michael Coates, and I'm sure we'll just sit on board with Michael Coates here. I can feel for him. That podium was quite literally right in front of him. It was staring him directly in the face. Two drivers battling amongst themselves. Just listen to the onboard here. In fact, look at this external angle here. Let's see if we can find it right here. Watch that green and yellow car. He is sliding on corner exit. Granted, he was on the curb, but he knew the opportunity was there. He was taking all of the racetrack possible. And see Coates doing relatively a smart thing. He's not sitting in line of slipstream because he knows that these two are going to be battling each other off of the racing line. A little bit of unintentional contact there, if there even was, but very minimal. That's standard racing stuff right there. Folds right here, side by side with Holmes. Oh, I think Folds just turns in too soon. I think that's what it was. Oh, Coates, he didn't downshift in time. He was, I don't blame him though. I don't blame Coates for just sitting back and just watching this happen. He was right there, so he may have wanted to go for it, but you could hear how low the gear was. Coates did not downshift and try and go for it. He just decided to sit back and just let things play out in front of him. So you know what? I do commend Coates for that. He was so close to a podium. Maybe it cost him. Maybe it didn't. There's so many alternate different things that could have happened here throughout the final lap. But you know what? It's better to finish a race than not finish a race. And we're going to look here. We're going to stay on board with Michael Coates here. We're at a good line with a good sight. What exactly happened with Holmes? In fact, we'll switch up to Folds here. So Holmes saying defensive, still saying defensive. I'd say that's a fair defense. I would argue that's a fair defense. Let's go off and take a look here at what I'm talking about, because watch Holmes and then watch the grass. That grass, this straightaway curves, and Holmes is not necessarily blocking. I wouldn't call that a block. He's just trying to close off that off, and effectively, if we run this back one more time, go on board with Michael Folds here, I would argue that right about here is where Folds should have swung to the left-hand side, because that gap was already close if we're going to talk the white line as the limits. But otherwise, what a race and what a job well done by Nicholas Shepard, and just what performance as well. And the battle for 5th place as well, Austin Herveiss finishing in 5th. Let's go ahead and throw up the finishing results for you here on screen as we take a moment to breathe and just digest what just happened here. But what a race this was. Nicholas Shepard, 5 in a row, no doubt by this point securing himself the championship. We'll still have to wait and see how things pan out. In fact, that should be updated by now. Let's go ahead and see if we can it should be 206 championship points for Nicholas Shepard here. Not sure if the global standings have been updated just yet, but those race results have been posted. And we have Nicholas Shepard. We don't have the graphic for this, and I do apologize, but right now, we'll read this out to you. The top 3 of the championship as of right now is Nicholas Shepard with 1,604 points, Michael Folds second with 1,556 points, and then Joe Holmes with 1,468 points. Shout out to Charles Wolf and John Miller. They are 5th and 6th in the championship standings, and that kind of a gap does kind of mirror through. But let's go and take a look at the finishing results. You've seen it on your screen already. You probably skimmed it over, but we'll go over it just for posterity's sake. Shepard 1st, 2nd Joe Holmes, and 3rd Michael Folds. Michael Coates was right there at the end, but you know what? A race finish is better than not finishing a race whatsoever. So if I were him, I'd be proud of that fourth place, 1000%. Austin Hervise finishes in fifth. I'm not going to pronounce that correctly at this point. Austin, I think it's Hervias. I could be wrong with that, but I believe it's Austin Hervias. He sits in the fifth place position. Sixth place, Tom Sanders. Seventh place, Charles Wolfe. James Newell finishes in eighth. Jesse Gonzalez ninth. And a top 10 for John Moe III to round out VIR for this week. Next 10 drivers have Matthew Bartlett in 11th. 12th place is Gregorio Moreno Jr. Kevin Cruchet is 13th. 14th place, Tony Wallace. Matt Mullins, 15th. Zachary Grau, 16th. Jean-Francois Saint-Pierre, 17th. 18th place, Daniel Diliberti. 19th place is Talk Sato. Wesley DeCruz, 20th. And then a couple drivers that did not finish were Marcelio Nunez, as well as Sebastian Cabaret, I believe is how it's pronounced. I'm staring at it, trying to figure out how to pronounce that. But regardless, he unfortunately finishes in 22nd after a first lap incident. But my oh my, what an event that was. And we still have, believe it or not, genuinely believe it or not, we still have 2 more weeks to go by this point. And next week we head to the one and the only Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the second to last week of the season. And it's going to be one heck of a race to go through. It's going to be the moto layout as well, if I remember correctly. So it's not going to be just the standard layout, but it will be, as you see here, the deviation in the track. We bypass that little short stretch, and we have just a little bit of an alternative route, taking the scenic route, if you will, down towards the turn 4 hairpin in this case. But that is what is in store for next week for these drivers. More elevation changes as if VIR wasn't enough, but you know what? It's going to be one heck of a show. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you all next week, same time, same place, on not August 18th. That graphic is unfortunately correct, but August 25th for next week. And we'll see you all in Mid-Ohio.